Hi, I'm Coleen and welcome to my channel. You've cut our dynamic trio block of the month. This month for August 2024 is Giraffe. This is a collab with my friends Melissa over at Practically Creative and Sylvia at You and Me FPP. I created my own Giraffe FPP pattern. I can't wait to see what Sylvia does. And I printed it at 75%. You can see in the picture when I start cutting a 1/4 inch away from that outer line, not the dotted line, the solid line, there's going to be a little extra right there that you can see, because when you print it at 100%, you get your 1/4 inch line perfectly. When you print it smaller, I'm cutting out around it to make sure I still have that 1/4 inch line. That being explained, I haven't made very many FPP patterns, and they are free because, I don't know, I like to give away things. So make it at your own risk. I do start out by cutting each piece out. I usually color them first, but my pencils weren't over here where I was cutting at, so I went and got them after I was done cutting, and voila, colored pencils. There was only 3 colors: the giraffe, the background, and the giraffe's, call them horns? I don't know, those things. So I only took out 3 pencils, and the yellow's the giraffe, the brown is the horns, and the green is my background color that I'm filling in. I do label these, like section A is section A1, 2, 3, so each fabric is the next one you put on. A1, the first fabric, A2, the second, and so on. And then section B, the same thing, and C and D, and sometimes there's only one fabric in the section, and that's fine. I was looking at these because it says glue the edge there, so that's the first thing I'm going to do when I get over to my sewing machine. But first, we're going to go through a scrap bag and find a bunch of fabrics to use for this. I pulled out a bunch of light pastels and that yellow, I don't know what you call it. I think I'm sure it's a Tula pink line. The pastels are Free Spirit, and a brown for the horns, just something that was in my scraps. And that went fast. And here is a picture, and it will also be in a Google Doc, PDF, something like that for y'all. First thing I do is I put them in ABC order, A being on top. Then I'll pull piece A out and start with A1, which is a background piece. And I'm using pastels for the background. It's just a scrap. There's no wrong side or right side to this particular piece that I'm holding, so no big deal. And I'm going to trim around piece 1 at least 1/4 inch away from the outline of piece 1, because we need to add that 1/4 inch for our seam allowance. And some fool had the TV too loud while I was recording because they wanted to hear court TV, and I'm going to be doing a lot of voiceover for this now. I don't know who that fool was. I was the only one home, but it couldn't have been me. That doesn't sound like me. Okay, it was me. As I'm watching this back to edit it, I'm wondering why I didn't just measure the first piece and then add a 1/4 inch all the way around and cut that piece out. That seems like it would have been a lot less tedious. I always wish I had a good explanation for why I do what I do. My thinking cap was not on, yet somehow I still made it work. You know, bless every one of you guys for putting up with me. Use plain old Elmer's. Now my A2 fabric, I'll put right sides together and numbers on the paper up. Just like regular piecing, you want your right sides together. And then I've got my stitch set at 1.4. I'm going to start at one intersection and stop the other on the line between A1 and A2 and back stitch. Really regretting my life choices of letting the TV play while I was recording. So on the line between A1 and A2, I'm going to flip that over, finger press it, Now we have A1 and A2 on. We're getting there. Next will be A3. I had to double check my numbering because I thought I was going for the other dark piece, and I'm not. A3 is the yellow piece. I'm lining up my raw edges on the back, so I don't need a light box, and I fidget a lot because getting those angles sometimes are harder than others. I'll start at the intersection at the top of the line between A2 and A3, back stitch. Follow the line the best you can. Back stitch at the end where the next line starts. You want to stop. Snip your threads. We've attached A3. Now we need to trim the excess off. And now we're going to add A4, which is on the other side of A1. I'm going to line up the raw edges of A4 brown colored piece with the edge of A1. If I can figure out how to do that. Y'all, some days I'm just slow. No, I was on the phone. We're looking at the line between A4 and A1, and we're going to start at the intersection at the top, back stitch, follow the line down with our stitch, and then back stitch where it meets the next line. And try not to go over that line. And repeat. Snip your threads close to the paper, turn it over, and give the seam a press on the new piece that you just added. Then turn it back to the letter side up and get your 1/4 inch on the 3 sides. And now we'll do piece A5, which is a background piece. We'll go against 1, 2, and 4. Right sides together. Again, my background pieces don't have a right side. It makes it easier. Sometimes I peek to make sure my fabrics are still lined up right there. And sometimes I catch that they're not. So I realigned them real quick. If you pinned them or clipped them or something, you probably wouldn't have that problem. I'm starting on the outside, back stitching. I'm going to come all the way down to my next intersection and stop at that intersection and back stitch. Snip our threads. Then we'll flip it over, give it a finger press, get our 1/4 inch around that new piece that we just added. Okay, now we're going to attach A6. So A6 is another background piece. We're going to line up, once again, the raw edges with the pieces that came before it, making sure my pieces are still lined up. Double checking that I've got a 1/4 inch overlap there. So I have my seam. And I'm going to start off the paper, sew down that line, and stop where the next line intersects. Snip our threads, turn the piece over and push back the piece we just added. Give it a finger press at that seam, the sew line. Flip it over, and I think you've got it by now. We're going to trim the excess off. Now we're ready for number 7, and you can see it kind of fits to the side under A6 and A3, and that line right there is where we're going to start off the paper because it's a seam allowance line, and follow through and stop where the next line intersects and backstitch there, which would be the line that separates 8. Snip our threads, push that fabric back that we just put on, give it a finger press, turn it over, and we're just going to trim that off real quick. I think that was for me, all the pointing, because I was still on the phone. I don't know. What is today? That was 2 days ago. We're going to trim this off and just... who knows? Oh my gosh. And now we're ready for piece 8, the final piece. Let's see if I get my angle right. I'm going to put the right sides together against the fabrics that are already on there, where it's poking out over the line. We're lining our raw edges up, and then we're going to pray. We're going to start off the paper, forward, back stitch, and just go all the way across this time, and back stitch. Snip your threads, turn it over, hopefully it fits like it should. It looks like it does. It covers the paper all the way across, all the way around, and we're going to trim off that 1/4 inch around this one, since that was our final piece on piece A. Anybody else doing a happy dance? Why y'all let me dance alone? That's not cool, man. I'm not apologizing for that one. I'm kind of proud of that one. Long story short about our next piece, piece B. We'll start on B1. I thought B1 and B2 were the same color, so I didn't do the B1 and B2. I did them both as background. My bad. It worked out in the end. So you can follow the instructions, or you can make them both background like I did and just add 3. I even double checked. I know. It's a problem. Okay, what do we got? Any color. I have a light yellow, but I don't want it against the yellow. So we'll go with the green. Will that work? Let's see if that will work. Remember, too big is better than too small, and this one is too small. So I know that one's going to work. If this was a patterned piece of fabric, it would be pretty side away from me, number side toward me. Do I want that? Yeah, I'll just use that in the seam allowance. It's not going to hurt nothing. I like the way I number these. I don't like the way the program I'm using numbers them. A-I, A-B, A-C, A-D. Give me numbers. Every time. All right. I don't know that that's big enough for anything, but I'm gonna hang on to it. So now we have 1, 2. We go up to 3, and 3 is that yellow. Let's see. Where we have this big enough go, that would make me have to do angled one. That might work. Except it won't. Move it up. Nope, still won't. Doesn't go across that line 1/4 inch. So, plan B. Line my fabrics up and let's go. Oh, it looks like it's going to cover it. And I'm sewing on the line between B1, 2 and 3. And now I'm going to turn that fabric over and press on the line. I barely made it up here. Barely made it. And the scrunch, but didn't make it actually. Ain't this as good as a quarter? I could just leave this piece to the end, but it'll bug me. Might as well get it off now. Look at that again. Whoops, got the quarter. I was counting it. All right, now, let's see, what color did I use? I have some different colored pastels, that's what I'm going to use. Don't know that I'm going to be able to use the yellow pastels since they're all kind of, that one's green, let's go for purple. Wait, what number am I on? 1, 2, 3, 4, 4. Okay, it is. It's right here. That looks like it's going to cover it, but I'm going to move it down a little bit towards my right hand because I am not trusting myself. Oops. Nothing underneath just to make sure that these fabrics are still lined up on the side right there. And they were until I touched them. And I want that right at that intersection of those lines meet. I lost my pedal. There we go. Doesn't usually get away from me. And back stitch there. Back stitch there too. I just continue the line all the way off the paper when it's going into the seam. Like that right there. Pull that a little aggressively. Don't need that much thread out. Now I'm going to push it back. Just give it a finger press. And cut off the extra, covering this whole area. On the 1/4 inch line, I should go up a little bit more. I don't like to trust that I'm going to follow through straight. This piece I am going to go all the way off. Because that splice would have gotten in the way of using it together anyway, so. See, green, purple. I really want to use that pastel yellow. Blue is, there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. How do I feel about that? Nope. I'm going to cut this off right here. It does not have enough overage to just use one piece. because of that angle. Okay, now we're on 5. 5 is right up here. Start at the intersection, back stitch, all the way off at that same angle. At least that's what I'm attempting. And the next block I make won't be FPP. Leave that to the professional. Sylvia, are your ears burning? Yes, that's who I'm talking about. Number 5's line is right here. I started right here and stitched down. I'm going to go across. Oops. Because we need that seam allowance past the line, or we have holes. Okay. Let's see if I could get away with that. I think that's light enough I could get away with it. I just like it. But is it going to fit? Pretty sides together when you're doing this part. Right sides. I always say pretty sides, right sides. Is it going to fit? Nope. I don't want to use blue again. I think I'll cut everything else up to tiny pieces.
Somebody's home.
Well, they didn't answer me, so I'm not speaking to them.
Are you still on the phone? They're probably driving.
No, I'm not still on the phone.
You have 2 seconds to respond, or I beat you with the cane. 2 seconds.
I said I don't. I said I'm not. I've got that on recording.
It was a different situation.
You stole my cane and you threatened to beat me with it.
Like this?
I will tell.
Hmm?
I'm gonna tell.
Okay.
Use it this way. I'm doing the scrappy, so I just sewed 2 pieces together, and I'm going to use them over here.
I'm trying to deposit.
The same way. Now I've sewn that scrappy piece on. And I'm back to voiceovers because somebody came home and they got very loud. I think it just wasn't meant for me to record this day. Oh my goodness. Okay, last piece on piece B. I am again using the two pieces that I sewed together. Just why not? It's scrappy. And I'm using them as if I'm using one piece of fabric. On, I believe the last piece was B7. Starting off the paper, back stitching, stitching across the line, checking my fabrics to make sure they're still lined up. And when I get across the line, I'm going to back stitch at the end off my paper. I'm going to go off the paper, back stitch onto the paper, then back off the paper. That was a little confusing. Snip our threads. Look at that. And we're going to trim it. I wish I knew what I was saying. They were so loud I couldn't even hear myself. And you'll notice it looks like I'm a little bit past the dotted line here. Remember, I printed this at 75%. So I adjusted where I cut for my 1/4 inch to make sure I have a 1/4 inch from the solid line. It printed out probably closer to over 1/8 of an inch. I could have left it like that, but my brain likes the I don't know what the word is. It likes coffee, and it hasn't had enough this morning. And that's piece B. Yay! And if I think of that word, I'll say it randomly later. You know I will. And you can see it coming together. I think putting the right sides of the fabric up like that and the paper down while I'm looking at it helps me keep from putting it together wrong when I get to the final putting it all together. Let's see. And C was just one piece, so I set C aside, and now I'm going to glue D. What was that? D1 and 2. Hang on. Let's get up the graphic here. The picture. You know what I mean. And for this, I am just eyeballing that my lines are straight with each other, each side where it says glue. I could have taken a pin on both the parallel lines at the top and the bottom. I made sure it was straight, but you can see here in a second, I can see through this paper. So I can line them up like that. I'll turn it so you can see in just a second. There you go. So I just lined them up like that. One side was just a tad off. You know what? It didn't make any difference. Although I did adjust. I think I still had it just a smidge. And I'm using the Elmer's stick glue. And I just discovered that I have 2 more new ones. I won't be buying any more just because they're on sale. All right. So that's piece E. I decided to put the fabric on piece C and trim it down. Again, using the Elmer's stick glue and fiddling until I find the most efficient way to use the least fabric. And this is just one piece. And we're going to start with D1, which is one of my yellow pieces, piece of the giraffe. Elmer's glue that right down. Find a professional like my friend Sylvia over at You and Me FPP. Once I get this set in place, I'm going to trim off the edges just like we had before, the sides, doing that 1/4 inch over the line. so we have room for the seam allowance. I'm only having to trim 3 sides because I lined the bottom up with my charm square I was using. Okay, now I need a piece for here and here of background. And what am I going to sew together to get that? This will work there if I'm careful. So I'm going to sew 2 pieces together. What side do we want that to go to? I think I want it to go to this side. So 1, 2, and 3 aren't touching. It doesn't matter which one I do first. I'm going to do this one first since I've already got the piece ready. Right sides together. I know it's the right side because that's where my seam is. And that will fit all the way across. And my big finger's under that, so it looks like it doesn't big mess. Right sides together. Using a light box, you can do that. I line up the fabrics because I already know the one is 1/4 of an inch. Follow my line all the way off the paper. Don't take this the wrong way. I really don't want to be an FPP teacher. I think my friend Sylvia is much better at that. But I like to tell you what I'm doing. Oops. Anybody else that reminds you of candy corn? I might be regretting this decision. It happens quite a bit. Okay. I'm gonna have to find me some more light colors. I don't think I have any more. Well, that's what I'm gonna do. Just gonna make it look scrappier. I did consider taking a solid fabric and using the back. I'm still considering it. Oh my god, I mean. Making sure my edges are lined up. It's kind of a big piece. Hold it up in the air, I'm gonna lose it. Make sure I got, yeah, right sides together. Ooh. That would have been fun. I am treating these 2 pieces of fabric that I put together as one piece of fabric when I do this. Everything else stays the same. I'm going to start off the paper, back stitch, follow my line across, and I realize I didn't do these in 1, 2, 3 order. This is actually number 2, but since they're not touching, you can put 1 and 2 on in any order you like. I gotta stop humming. Okay, 1, little background, so we're going to use a little piece. It covers the whole thing. I don't even know if I'm talking. Barely hear myself. I try to always skip this step, along with the step of turning my camera on. I have a song stuck in my head. I can feel I've got my 1/4 inch there, so I'm not going to worry about that side. Yeah, I'm going to worry about my camera going though. See, I'm always surprising myself. Change my blade after this project. Make it easy on yourself. Okay, there's where I need to go with that 1/4 inch. Okay, over this way a 1/4 inch. And that way, and see if my angle's going to catch it. I believe it will. I have believed that before and been very wrong. Let's start. Ouch. That's a hurt. I just ouch for no reason. I do that. I anticipate pain. Turn the machine on. Center. 1.4. Wrap it right there at the intersection. Back stitch. And come forward. And stop at the next intersection. Back stitch. Pretty sides were together. See if I got it. I got it. Yay! Got a better finger press back in. I'm gonna watch more shows on YouTube. Live core shows, that was great. But all of that was messing with my cording. My recording. Man. I need to find some music to listen to. I sound awful. I'm going above 1 and 2. Now that I've got them both on, I'm taking that 1/4 inch off. Pretty sides together. Which is right sides together. I only needed a 1/4 pass up here. So I'm moving my fabric to about that point. This one will work, so I'm going to test it. I'm going to sew between my 1 and 2s and 3. Off the paper. Ow. Stop at the intersection where that line ends. Maybe I was being so loud yesterday I don't have anything left in my voice today. So I have an oilless chair. And a quarter this way. And a quarter above those two yellow pieces. Sometimes I just smack my ruler with my rotary blade to keep it in line. Just says things like that. 5 and then 6, so 4 is over here. I'm gonna use this piece because I want some one of those. Oh, I didn't cut that side off. I wonder why that was taken out funny. Just a little bit. For some reason it bugged me. I mean, tiny. What did I do? I barely got it right there. So when I put this on, you have to be very careful. I'm gonna have to add a couple pieces on this to finish covering it, but I'm not worried about that. I like the scrappy look, so if you don't, get a bigger piece of fabric. So I printed these at 75%. I thought it would work better. Okay, I went down a little. At the intersection. Okay. I thought I cut it too short there. Now I've got another piece that goes there. See that? I'm short right here, and I'm short right here. I'm okay with that. I only need this piece and this piece, so I'll go ahead and cut this one off. I might just patch it. Yeah, I'll just patch it with the same color. Depends on how much I need for the other pieces. That did not go through. Get a good pressure. There we go. That's where the pressure went. Now I think these solids are from a Free Spirit charm pack. Since those are the corners and nothing's touching it, I'm going to take care of these first. This isn't right. I'm trying to add 6 before 5. Here I go with my angles and being cheap again. I'll realize it just in time not to have to get the seam ripper out. That should work. I think that's what I'm going to have on my tombstone. Famous last words, that should have worked. Oh, did I do that wrong? That's okay. I should have went over here. It's not too late. Quilters are problem solvers, right? Not too late. I'm going to take this. And I'm going to clip it back here. Right? Right. So when I take this piece, right, 4 or 5, when I take this piece, I'm not going to catch the piece I just turned out. Okay, my fabric stuff, I'm ignoring this piece I accidentally put on. I'm going to go off the paper and stop at this corner. Actually, I'm going to start this corner and go off the paper. And my machine is going very slow because I slowed it down, hoping it was quieter and I would have to do less editing machine noise out. We'll see. I don't edit it out, I just have to mess with it every time I turn it on. Turn the volume way down. Okay, there we go. So because I did this up here, I'm just going to get my 1/4 inch cut right there, put my other piece on, and then square it up. Trim it down, whatever. Making sure not to catch my fabric over here. I'm going to go backwards. Did I get it? Oh. Alright, now I can add that piece I started. And it lines up. Just tuck that one in, we'll line it back up. We ain't going to stress about that today. I'm going to start off where I left off and back stitch. If you're looking for a perfectionist to show you how to do FPP, you are in the wrong place. In fact, if you're looking for an amazing FPP teacher at all, I have a suggestion. Coleen need more coffee. Now I'm going to turn that one off. Oh no! Okay, I'm going to undo that I just did. I thought out the first one, I didn't think out the second one. I'm not worried, some of my paper's coming off, it's fine. I had to open my mouth about perfection. It's kind of like I was taunting myself. Hey, watch this. Whoops. I'm using this because I can really target those threads. It works quickly and I can't see the threads. I know they're there, but I can't see them. I'm just blind. You just need it off of that piece so I can flip that piece back over where it belongs. There we go. I knew I had more to trim off. Okay, now that I've done that, I could iron this and do it again, but I'm just going to take the handy dandy clip, clip those together so they don't come apart, and go back over my line. We're not going to stress. We're just going to fix it. And again, I'm going back further than where I unstitched. See? And no one will be any the wiser once I trim those couple little threads that I didn't quite get out. I notice I laugh at myself a lot. And I sound ridiculous, but I am a happy mess. Oh, that could be another YouTube name. Coleen the Happy Mess. Or the Happy Mess Coleen. going to fix those two corners. This one down here, I'm just going to do this just like regular piecing though. I'm not even going to turn over and do it on the paper. I'm just going to watch my 1/4 inch right there. Crumbs, mostly in that. I'm going to do a regular 1/4 inch like we did in normal piecing. I should have back switched it. That's alright. Okay, that may be an 1/8, closer to an 1/8 than a 1/4 inch. It doesn't really matter. Now we can snip our threads, trim these two corner pieces off after we give them a finger press back. And it just adds a little scrappiness. Then our piece E will be done, and all that's left is to put the whole thing together. That shouldn't be too hard. It's A, B, C, E, and last strip will be D. Don't worry, you don't have to remember that. Okay, I'll be back in a minute to finish this. So, where do we start? I think the best place to start is putting these two together, which would be piece B and piece A. Right. If you have them down backwards, you know, you put the pretty sides together. I think I do better if I put the pretty sides up and then do it. All I'm going to do is match the two corners. Some patterns have matching points on them. I find they never match when I do them, but they always work out. So I'm not going to worry about it. I'm going to go in that little corner right there and this little corner right here. I'm going to straighten my sides up, go over here. After I straighten those sides up, anchor that. Now go to the other corner. Way easier than the doghouse I made. Way easier. And only one fix. That's pretty good. Oh. And if it's lined up correctly, it will go through where it's supposed to. Yay. Anchor that. I'm going to have to pay close attention right here, actually, because there's a bulk right there. I'm going to look at that. They matched. I'm half blind, so if it doesn't look like it matches at the camera, that one didn't. There we go. This is the same bobbin from my Tuesday live that I thought was going to run out. Start off the paper, go onto the paper, don't run over your pins, go forward, and follow that line, follow the line. I just realized that's why I get them done well. Oh, that worked out good. Yes, I am surprised. Okay, now put it back down over here so I can see what I'm doing. I'll put this side on and then put this side on. I can actually pin both of them right now and just turn it when I'm done. So let's do that. Right corner's not going to match. I can tell I've already got holding it wrong. I can see through the paper there, so if I miss that,
And I did. By the smallest amount, it still would have worked. Line this edge up that I'm sewing. Anchor your pin. Yay, that one worked too. Anchor your pin. Next time I'll have to remember. Oh, it got me. The pin got me. Next time I'll have to remember to take those off. Starting off everything and then going on. I did go up to my pin, but I did not go over it. Although I like to live dangerously. This brother does have 3 speeds. Okay. I did put that on the right side, so why did it not look right? Because it's upside down. I'm gonna line these up. I'm not even gonna pin them now. I'm over it. I only tried to line the side I'm sewing up. That should get me what I want. No stress. When you have extra fabric on the outside, which I learned from my friend Sylvia, you have a little bit extra on the outside. Don't worry about that. Can you see that? Yeah. A little bit of fabric right there. I'm not worried about it. Made this go in just a little bit more, but that's going to be okay too. I start up at this corner and I am going to pin this. This is a big piece. And the fabric's loose right there, so. See, right now I'm thinking I could do a legit kit. I totally could do a legit kit. It would just take forever for me. And my long-term project, I think, is that truck for my husband and then my Impala. Oh, man. And with embroidery stitches, if it doesn't look exactly like I think it should, I can fiddle with it till it does. I'm going to put this corner. I almost put this corner through that corner. Like I said, I moved my paper a little bit, so that may not line up exactly for me. Yep, that's good. Stop using me as a pin cushion. I don't appreciate it. Melissa, get on to them. Tell them to stop using your friend as a pin cushion. See, I don't only talk to myself. I talk to my friends that aren't here. They're not imaginary. They're just not present. I'll have to keep this whole thing just because I won't shut up. And I think I'm playing. This machine, I should. That's okay. Just hang on to it. Make sure everything stays lined up when you get there. Don't pull it apart like that. That's how easy these papers come off. They will stay on. You know, any of them you tug, they're going to come apart. This machine has 3 speeds. I have it on that one. This is the first one. That's the second. And we don't want to do that. It's too hot. Stay as close to on the line as you can. Unless it's going to make a big bow, I'm not going to worry that much. Like right here, I come off the paper, or the line. Came off the line right here. You may be able to see. If I get it. Just a little bit. It's not going to make a big bow in it, so I'm not going to worry about it. It's like moving that paper a little bit. I don't think it really affected my design. So I'm not going to worry about that either. Stay Flow mixed with water. It's probably just like that much Stay Flow mixed with water. Even when I use Best Press, I mix it with water. I just like it less, and it's okay. What do I want to do here? I'm going to clip this so it lays the way it wants to lay without getting my stitches. Don't clip your stitches. Clip down to your stitches, but don't clip your stitches. And then over here. Are we behaving? Yep, we're behaving pretty good over here. All right. Give it a mist. There should be links to this, not this specific one. It's this one. This one does not have a bladder thing in it like this one does. This one has a bladder that squeezes, compresses to help. And I constantly have to do this to release the air inside of it because it's getting too smushed. You should let it dry for a little bit before you touch it with your iron. I have an iron that has brown permanently on it because I baked it. Yep, that brown is baked starch. It's not rust. After I do this from the back, which I usually don't remember to do. Get everything laying the way it wants to. Try anyway. Then I'm going to turn it over and kind of from the center start pulling a little bit to make sure I get any pleats that are in there out. I really dislike putting eyes and things on with embroidery stitches. I don't know. I just dislike it. It may not get a face. You can see where I was over too far here. That's okay. Like I said, I'm going to trim it down. And this block comes out approximately, if I did it right, would have been closer to 8.5 by 8 1/4. But I'm going to trim it down square, which is why I put extra around it. Because I know that's what I do. The tops of the horns. Whoops. And then I'm going to move it. So who doesn't want the fun of redoing what they just did? You know, when my needle isn't doing right because my machine needs to be clean, it needs to be changed, there's tension problem with the spool holder or whatever. When it's doing that, I've learned I need to take a second look at everything I'm doing because sometimes it not working is saving me from making a bigger mess. I've got the piece on backwards. I don't have it aligned right. And I didn't before the problem. Isn't that funny? Those of you that are Christians, you'll understand. I just figure God's looking out for my stupidity. Trying to save me from it. Okay, we're going for 8 inches, so I'm 8 inches here. Hope you can see it. Just 8 inches here, 8 inches. Ideally, I would have my bigger mat to do this on. Or I wouldn't have folded up this mat, but you know, I did, and I'm efficient, so I don't want to undo it. Well, what do we think? You probably think it needs a face. I really don't like doing faces. I don't like doing faces. I don't know why. Let's get these threads off. Ouch. Without stabbing myself. There we go. I like it. It's very scrappy, although this wasn't intended, and that wasn't intended, and neither were those. I like it. And this, you can can't remember if that one was or not. Just putting fabrics together and make a bigger piece of fabric for me to use. Use your scraps.
I hope you enjoyed this tutorial of an FPP giraffe and the free pattern below. Don't forget to visit my friends in the collab, Melissa, Practically Creative, and Sylvia, You and Me FPP. Be the light you hope to see in others. Have a great day, a great week, and take care.